Hi and welcome to Prindiville. This is a series, an autobiographical series about my past, and we are joined today by the lovely Joanne.
Hello.
Joanne, how do you do?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm beautiful, thank you. And I'm delighted to have you on for my first ever podcast. Dun, dun, dun.
Very excited.
Very excited.
I'm very excited.
So thank you, and I hope you enjoy basically the journey of knowing all about where I come from, where I'm going, where I went wrong, where I went right, if I did at all, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows.
The roller coaster,
which is life. Yes.
Exactly.
And I'm now feeling good enough that I'm ready to discuss life with you and the world. And why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because basically I've kind of woken up and come out of depression and having a bit of a wobble in life, and so I'm feeling a lot better now. And I think now I've kind of woken up and come out of the matrix, I look around and I see how damaged the world is, how we're all in such a really, really bad space at the moment. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I'm compelled to say what I can see is going wrong. And actually, I'm focused on the younger generation. Everything seems to have been stolen. They don't seem to have a future in front of them. They're not going to get a job. They're not going to have a car. They're not, basically, the next generation has been stolen any opportunities that they're going to have. And I think it's our generation that have sleepwalked into this. So now we're going to have to hold our hands up and say, whoa, big problems. And how do we sort this out?
Okay.
Are you aware? I mean, even are you having these kind of conversations out on the street? I mean, it just seems to be like we're all like, wow, what is actually going on here?
You know, it's we can look at the news and think everything's sort of like gone to shit. But also, I was saying to someone the other day, I seem to meet a lot of many like-minded people who think similar to how I think. So that does give me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
That if you are doing something like this, you will sort of reach out to like-minded people as well, or people who are sort of on the cusp of thinking.
Anybody who's on the fence, we just want to wake people up.
Exactly.
Joe, you've got to wake people up, shake them now.
They just need to see what's going on, because a lot of people have got their heads in the sand, and the more people that sort of see what's going on, then we can have the discussion, and that's what's important.
Discuss the elephant in the room.
Exactly.
Because basically there is an elephant in the room, and these guys have got it hidden behind a curtain and they're pretending it isn't there.
Yeah.
But it's making big noises and it's shitting all over the place. And, we all know that there is something behind that curtain.
Yes.
But anyway, so what is this first series? So let's go.
So your series is autobiographical. So we'd like to start off your first episode talking about your childhood.
Right, so my childhood, I started off in, I was born in St Mary's Hospital, Paddington, which is Parade Street, Edgware Road. So I come from West London. Me and the Queen and the King, I think we were all born there. Funny enough, my dad was born in the same hospital. And I was born in 1974 in St Mary's Hospital. And I grew up in West London in a place called Lisson Green Estate, which was a 70s housing estate experiment, and we were one of the first families to move on to the estate. But basically what it was is every lunatic from London, they decided to put in one concrete jungle in the middle of Edgware Road, Church Street, but top of Marble Arch. And we were on that estate with every nutty lunatic in the world. So it was just the most eye-opening thing. But it was, as I say, a 70s housing experiment. You had every race, religion, colour, creed, every troublemaker that was in London. They moved them onto one housing estate and let them fight out, basically.
Who was in your home? Were your parents together? You've got brothers and sisters?
Yep, so I shared my house with my mum and my dad, and at the time my dad had two children from his previous marriage, and my mum had two children from her previous marriage, Stuart and Liza, and so we all lived together in Tresham Crescent in Lisson Green Estate as a family. So it was me, my dad, my mum and Stuart and Lisa, and then it was me. And so we lived there. It was a pretty mad gaff because next door we had a proper mental health load of people. So, you know, like in the 70s, you had a lot of that thalidomide. We
Yeah.
call them the window bus lickers, the blue bus lot.
Yes.
Well,
Which is not politically correct.
Not politically
But
correct in
my
our-
brother used to call me a flid when I was about 7.
Listen,
I didn't know what it meant.
What is political correctness?
It's gone wild.
It's gone
wild.
yeah,
but
listen,
let's
it
bring
means
back.
it means fuck all now, political correctness.
It does.
So anyway, the blue bus lot, which was the old window lickers lot, they lived next door to us and they were mental. So my dad would come home at night and these lot would have tried to like attack us or say something to us. So my dad used to come home and literally my mum would send him next door straight away. He'd go and beat up the geezers next door and they would all be going like mad because they all sounded mad. But where they were mad, you would fight them one day and then they would go back and do the fucking same thing the next day. So my dad was round there knocking them out left, right and centre constantly. And then it was a mad housing estate, right? And you had hundreds of kids and hundreds of potty families. So in this day and age, that was the IRA days. So half of the estate was Irish. So you had a lot of the IRA. We had Belfast Bobby round the corner and all of them. Belfast Bobby, which was my dad's best mate. And we had Paddy Gunning and Paddy. What was
There's
he
always a
fucking?
Paddy.
There's always a few
There's
Paddies. There was a lot of Paddies, and Paddy owned all the pubs. So our area was a lot of drinking, a lot of pubs. It was very English. It was Church Street Market. We had Church Street Market on a Sunday. So we were living in the middle of it. It was all going on. And I remember one day, my brother was in the flats, and my dad was a big builder, and he come home one day and found Stuart outside crying or whatever.
He's your older brother.
He's my older brother. Stuart's my older brother. And my dad, what's the matter with you? And he said, this geezer called Fidel, who was a 6 foot tall, brick shit house, big black geezer, he was a schizophrenic, and he had everybody petrified on the green from him. But, you know, of that generation and his age group.
Yeah.
Anyway, my dad's come home. My dad weren't all there. And he found Stuart crying. What's the matter with you? Stuart went, he's like either beat him up or bullied him or something. My dad went, fuck this. Took the whole family, marched us all the way around the flats, all the way around to the geezer's house. And then he knocked on the geezer's door, right? And I remember this as plain as day. All of us are standing out in the street, in the flats. And he's knocked on the geezer's door. No answered. And he's booted the fucking front door straight off the hinges, walked straight through the geezer's house, through the corridor, into the kitchen where Fidel's in there cutting up the fucking thing with a big carving knife. So all of a sudden my dad's then dragging this geezer down the fucking hall with a big carving knife. And as he's got him outside, some kid's riding past on a skateboard, right? Because these are the skateboard days. My dad's pushed him off the skateboard, picked the skateboard up and smashed Fidel over the head with a skateboard, done him. Stone cold out on the street with the fucking knife and everything. The whole flats are going mad. Everyone, the whole gaff's going, yeah. It's just, but that's how it was. It was just murders and fights and fucking, my bike was nicked, your bike was nicked. If you left anything for 2 seconds, there was 30 geezers on it. But musically, it was going off. There was hundreds of geezers in the flats. I remember once when my brother Stuart, again, who was a fucker, but he was the oldest one and had all the mad mates. He had a Volkswagen Beetle and they used to go driving around the flats. I mean, fucking everyone drove around the flats. Like, Stuart was probably like, I don't know, 12, 13 at the time.
Playground, isn't it?
Playground. Anyway, so them lot are all driving around the flats, like Stuart's got him and his mates all in there, piled in there, all like smoking and bits and pieces. As they drove around the corner, a policeman's jumped out and gone like that, stop. Stuart's gone, put his foot down and run the geezer over. Oh man. So now that we're hiding the car and the whole flats, there's old Bill everywhere. But they were one of them flats where you used to run from one balcony to the next, everything was connected.
Yeah.
Fucking madness, man. So old Bill try and chase you, you're down and out. Mate, it was just fucking, the green was mental. All the best music come from the green. It was it was like multicultural. So our best friend Alex Angle was one of the first DJs really. He was one of the first people to ever do mixes on decks. But these lot had old record players and a tiny little thing, and they were making music on decks, mixing originally from the beginning. So Lisson Green Estate, West London, Ladbroke Grove, Notting Hill, Harrow Road, all of them places, very, very musical. We've got Notting Hill Carnival, do you know what I mean? I mean, when you think about it, we had our own fucking pirate radio stations. I lived in a pirate radio station. Mad days, really, when you think about it, Joe.
Yeah.
Up on the tower blocks when we used to have, we had a radio station called Smart Boys 101.2 Tough Crew. See it there. It's a mental. Smart Boys, Radical Crew 101.2. That was our gaff. And then we done, so I remember I lived in my brother's house, in a block of flats, and he had a radio station in there.
How old was you at this point?
I was about 12 or 13.
Okay.
My bedroom was the studio. So what would happen was I'd get up in the morning and have a tidy up, and then all them lot would come in and start playing music. But there would be fucking, in order to drown out the sounds, even if you was in a tower block, we used to have mattresses all over the walls, all over the gaff. Do you know what I mean? Where we would be blasting in there. So I used to have DJs just coming in the house all day long. It was like an open door, coming in to do different sets. Like mad people used to have MC Light come over from America to do a set in there. Oh, it was just madness. And all the people from the Manor, man. And there was loads of different radio stations, and those were the days where we used to advertise your raves. So we had a radio station, then we used to go and do like proper full-on raves, all under the arches, in Vauxhall, fucking Club Sandwich, and this and that, and madness.
Very, very musical.
Very musical. And then there was the pirate station, so you'd be on top of on the tower block. So how mad is this, right? You would have to climb, you'd go up to the top floor of the lift, then out of the lift, up some mad stairs you had to have special keys for, right? Then get out onto the roof of the 21 floor tower block. So as you come down the Westway, coming into West London on the A40, you see a series of tower blocks, 4 or 5 massive 22-foot tower blocks on the Westway coming into London. Those were our fucking, that was our plot. And we used to have all of our rigs up there. But what you'd have to do is climb up onto the roof, right, Joe? Then you'd get one geezer, would then get a set of steps. Then you'd get onto the top of the lift room, right? So now you're on the top of the block of flats, on top of another roof, holding onto a fucking pole, holding onto your brother's leg while he climbs up this little ladder, and you're just about getting your transmitter on top of the fucking pole. And this was in the first days when radio phones used to come out. So we used to have one, so we'd be standing on top of a ladder, on top of a tower block, holding a fucking aerial with a big Motorola, the first Motorola that used to come out, which was £1 a minute, going, yeah, can you hear us, yeah. And they go, yeah, no, you're on. Sweet, right, hold on, yeah, stay there. Lock it off like that, then run downstairs, hide all your stuff. The DTI would come, then there'd be fucking motors coming into the estate with aerials. You'd be throwing fucking microwaves out, fucking fridges to try and get rid of them. Madness. But that was those were the days before all of this. This was the days before Kiss FM, all of that lot. It was real, man. And pirate stations, I mean, everyone used to listen to a pirate station. Remember with the pager?
Yeah.
When you used to we had pagers, man. Blip, 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 blip. And everyone would sit in there and do your songs. It was just mad. And the birds, you'd ring up the birds in the pager companies and they'd be laughing their fucking heads off. Just madness. Do you remember those days?
It was chaos, wasn't it? It was just fun.
Yeah, it was
fun.
So
Freedom,
going out, raving. Listen, it was just brilliant. And we were very, very popular at that time. So we had lots of friends and we grew up in a brilliant, musical, lovely way. So actually, I loved my childhood. I had a brilliant childhood.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And what were your mum and dad like as people? We've heard a bit about your dad. What was your mum like?
I love my mum. My mum was my best friend. My mum was a tiny little thing, weighed about 6 stone, chain smoked fags, a beautiful, beautiful woman, had a really bad childhood. Horrific childhood, my mum. My mum had 3rd-degree burns from pretty much just below her chest all the way down to her feet. She was set light to as a child. A night caught a light in... Listen, she wasn't being looked after very, very well in those days. You know what I mean? Things were really, really bad in them days. My mum was very, very quiet, you know, struggled with depression, struggled with drink, you know, but then some horrific things had happened to her. So my mum was a very, very troubled and damaged woman. My dad, he was a lovely, beautiful man, completely illiterate, the most cleverest person I've ever met to this day. Everyone says that about their dad. My dad was the fucking cleverest bastard ever. There wasn't a thing you couldn't talk to him about. I'd never been in a conversation or a situation where he spoke to a professional so in depth that they ended up going, Jesus Christ, you know, you know a lot about this. My dad knew intricately everything. He was just so, he was my best mate. Yeah. He was my best mate. My mum died in my arms on my 40th birthday of cancer. My dad died later on in 2018, pretty much. I'd nursed both my mum and my dad all the way through the end of it. I mean, all of us did in the family, but I was my dad's main carer towards the end. Do you know what? It's horrible when you're looking after a parent who is at the end of life. I mean, my dad he'd been in hospital so many times. I mean, I knew every heart surgeon. I went to so many hospital appointments with my dad. My dad was like the bionic man. I've done the deaf run to St Mary's, Duquesne Road and every other hospital probably 20 times. I would get the deaf run and then I'd be off to go and see him. I knew everybody in St Mary's Hospital. I knew Dr. Fox in the cardiology. Do you know what? It's just, I've learned so much about the human anatomy. Yeah. And now as I talk to older people, I go, I'm feeling a bit, I say, you're on the metformin, where's your statins, where's this, where's that? Yeah. I'm like, I just know things that I shouldn't really know about, like all of these mad things. So now when I go into the hospital, I go, oh, well, hold on, you're gonna have to do this, that, and the other. So, but yeah, love my dad. My dad was my absolute best friend. My dad taught me logic. He taught me how to make everything with my hands. You know, I'm very, very practical, and that is all because of my dad. But I'm very emotional and spiritual, and that was my mum. Yeah. So my mum and dad were my absolute everything. And when they died, I just spiraled into serious depression. Serious depression. I lost everything. You know, I started really drinking and taking a lot of drugs once I'd lost my main key people in my life.
I think a lot of people do. A lot of people do at those times, you know.
Yeah.
But it's how you sort of come out of it.
Well, this is all part of your journey of life. I mean,
exactly.
What is life? You know, I fundamentally think you are a spiritual entity having a human existence, and you're here to experience, for what value it is, humanity. And I think you're here to learn how to deal with each other. I think you're here to learn how to deal with your anxiety, with like for me, I've had to struggle with all the voices in my head. And I don't know if I'm the only person who does that, but I wake up and I've got like 3 different voices in my head that I've got to try and control. And only now that I'm 50, have I learned how to deal with all of those subsections of my psyche. But I spent so many years trying to deal and manage with that, with drink and drugs and depression.
Self-medicate, isn't it?
Self-medication.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and that's why, you know, we talk about schools and everything else, but schools are completely unfit for purpose because they teach you nothing about life. In fact, if anybody thought about it, I think schools have been designed to completely confuse and bombard you from the minute that you're born. Yeah. I mean, I think there's something much more sinister and darker about the way that we teach children. Well, we don't teach children, we're abusing children. Yeah. Sending your child to a school is just a form of abuse.
So, do you want to do your central spine part for this episode?
Oh yes, central spine. So everybody, this is the central spine section, and in here we've got a photograph here that you can see on the screen, and that's me with my dog Sunny in a garden in Everingham Road, which was a lovely, beautiful big house that we moved to in Hackney when my dad was a builder, and this was a beautiful time of life. I was about 6 or 7 there, just got my first bike, Big Six, which I got from Lee Bridge Road, just around the corner from a football club that we used to go to, Leighton Wingate. Yeah, we spent a lot of time down at Leighton Wingate Football Club, where my dad was best mates with Kenny Winston's dad, or Kenny Winston, and the Winstons. And in fact, who's the famous geezer, the Winston? Ray Winston. Ray Winston. Who's done quite a bit in...
he's done quite a bit, yeah. He's done all right for himself, hasn't he?
Well, I was watching him on Netflix the other night. He's done some other bits and pieces. Yeah. He was in that famous film you love.
Sexy Beast.
Sexy Beast.
I love Sexy Beast.
We love Sexy Beast. That was in his heyday.
Yes.
He was the business then. Go on, Mr. Winston. So yeah. So that's the central spine, and that's effectively what was going on in that point.
Perfect.
Yeah. So have I missed anything out in the old?
I'm just thinking, you know.
How's it going so far, Z? Is the switcher switching?
What was home life like?
Home life was okay. So basically, I lived on the Lisson Green estate at first, up to the age of about 6 or 7, and it was brilliant. For the whole part of my first bit of life, I used to walk around in nothing but a pair of red Wellingtons, stark bollock naked, and I still love being stark bollock naked with nothing but a pair of red wellies on.
Thank you for getting dressed today.
Thank you. Yeah, I have got dressed today. Yeah, luckily enough. But anyway, across the road used to be a sweet shop. Literally, my house was here, the sweet shop, Little Indian sweet shop was over there. So what, I get up early in the morning, no other fucker was about, and I had this little hammer, my little toffee hammer. So I'd walk over to the Indian sweet shop across the road, and he weren't fucking up either. So I used to smash on his window with a little tiny hammer, tap, 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 tap. Come on, open up, you fucking bastard, open up, get me some sweets. And he was rolling, he used to laugh his fucking arse off. So he'd come in at 6 o'clock in the morning to open up his fucking newsagents, and I'd be tapping on his window with a little tiny hammer at 6 o'clock. He'd come and let me in, open up the shop, and I'd come in and get me fucking all my sweets, go. I can see where it's all, I'm used to just going in and taking what I want, and I can see where it comes from now. I still do it in Tesco's now. I like to just go in, take what I want, and fuck off. Yeah, I still do like, that's self-service. Do you think?
What does self-service actually mean?
Means
You're
fucking,
serving yourself.
I'm serving myself, fella.
I'm not charging yourself.
No. Listen, don't put these machines out here and think I'm going to fucking be trained on it. No. Mugging us all off, charging us untold for everything, giving us nothing, killing us with the food, and then you want to put a load of fucking pretend machines in there. Yeah, see you later. One for me, one for you. One for me, one for you. See you later. It'll be nicked upstairs in Tesco's later on.
All right, don't worry about it. It's always Sainsbury's.
So anyway, I used to go in there, get me sweets, and then my mum would go in the afternoon, and he'd go, here, Ange, here, this is what he's had today. She'd have to go in and pay my sweet bill like once a week for whatever I used to go in. But my mum, do you remember as being a kid, my mum used to send me out for fags.
Fags, yeah.
So I used to go down the sweet shop, and I used to go, and, hey, my mum says, can she have 20 pence in an edges?
They'd write you a note, wouldn't they? They could write you a note back then.
You could write a note. Mum used to go down 50p. I remember a fucking packet of fags was 50p. And I could get, me and Darren Emery, we used to go and get a portion of chips after going to swimming in, where would we go?
Was it a Lido or something?
It was a Lido. It was a Lido. Where is it over? Fucking Britannia Leisure Centre.
Britannia Leisure
Centre, mate. Back in the Hackney, because we were from Hackney in them days. Me and Darren, Stillman Close and all of that.
So you went to Hackney.
Oh yeah. So hold on.
You were in Lisson Green, and then you went to Hackney.
So we left Lisson Green, and we moved. My dad was a builder. He specialised in buying houses that had been burnt out.
Ooh.
So in Hackney, there was loads of houses that were beautiful, massive houses. And
gorgeous houses.
Mad. My dad bought a mansion. Well, what would be the equivalent of a mansion? But when you walked in, there was just a front door, and there was nothing else in there.
Is this at Everingham Road?
This was Everingham Road. So my dad bought an house for 500 quid. In the auction that had nothing in it, and he had to borrow the 500 quid off of his dad, Mr. Murray. So Murray lent my dad 500 quid, and my dad bought an house in Hackney. And you open the door, you opened and looked up, and there was no floors, no fuck all, no ceiling, no roof. It was just a complete empty 4 fucking walls.
Lovely.
My dad was brave, man. And my dad used to go work in the day as a builder, and then finish at day, and then come home at night and work all night to about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, then come back home drive from Everingham Road all the way back to Lisson Green Estate, have his dinner, have a round with mum, get up in the morning, and then him and my mum would go on weekends and graft all weekend, and they built an house. So we had one of the first houses that was on, what's that? What's them fucking, what's that? We watch it all the time.
Oh, what, like Restoration Man or something like that?
What's it called? Who's that other geezer?
Grand Designs.
Grand Designs, yeah. We were one of the first houses on Grand Designs. Like, my dad built a mad mansion back in them days. We had indoor gardens, ponds, landscape gardens, intercoms all the way through the house. It was mental, mad. But it was in Hackney. So this house just shone out like a Belisha beacon through the whole of Hackney, man. You know what I mean? My dad made a fucking palace. But on the front of it, you had he had a lorry, and I was built up as a builder in a lorry. That's why I'm mad on building. That's why I'm mad on men going to work. That's why I'm mad on apprenticeships. That's why I'm absolutely fascinated, and I'm driven to get some of these kids out here now that are going nowhere and get them into apprenticeships with real men that are still know where they are, know their value as humans, and can give a bit of time to another young man or girl in order to try and teach them. Because what's happened is there's a massive amount of generation of kids that don't have any fathers. And men without a positive role model male just ends up in a mess, ends up in jail, selling drugs, ends up in jail, ends up just not being beneficial to our society. And the reason that society is collapsing now is because fundamentally they've sped the world up, and they're making everybody work so hard and run so quick just to be able to survive and get their shopping, that the children are being left behind, and they want the children left behind.
Of course.
Because when you are a group of paedophile and abusers, that's how you want the society. You want these children left behind. You want everybody to just end up being an idiot, so you can dumb them down, carry on with the mobile phone, carry on feeding them shit, carry on with your chemtrails, carry on just trying to make... Do you know what? I've got a geezer here, a friend of mine, makes animated videos, mad animated videos. He's a beautiful man, great big lump of a geezer. But he comes in the other day, he said, "Hey, you're not going to believe this. They've now told me I can't make a video past 30 seconds. I went, what? 30. I went, what? Not even a fucking minute. He went, do you know what? Kids ain't even got a half a minute. Joe. I went, what about Tom and fucking Jerry? Yeah. They want goldfish. They want you as fucking stupid as fuck. And you know what? They're pretty much succeeding. But what we're doing here now is we're saying, no, we're not having it. Everybody, like, let's pull it together. Get on your kids now. Get the phones off of them. Get the next generation sorted. I want to see the world turn its back on technology. Because if we all woke up a bit like smoking in pubs, wearing seatbelts, you know what, all of the other things that are not acceptable in society, once people find using technology the way we are as unacceptable, then this world will turn around beautifully. It will turn around beautifully, because the only way that the ruling classes that are so quickly, desperately trying to get us managed, if you turn your back on the only thing that they can control you with, which is technology, what have they got? What the fuck have they got? They're fucked. They're completely fucked.
Exactly.
You know, but we are in a race now between us and them.
Yeah.
1000%.
It's definitely, you feel the pressure.
You feel the pressure.
Rising.
This is why I'm doing it.
Exactly.
You know, you've got the Andrew Tates, you've got the Tommy Robinsons, you've got all of these outspoken people. You know, you've got this 2C2V geezer who's like, it's just at it all day long. You know, everybody is out now saying enough's enough. Trump's got in. Now, listen, cat shit sandwich, dog shit sandwich. Anybody in the political scene is in or there. But between Elon Musk and Trump getting in there, I hope and pray that the world is going to turn a corner now and we can start getting into a much more enlightened place, because we 100% have been ruled by a dark demonic force. I don't know, you've got governments and you've got, you know, you can see that you've got America, who used to think was the biggest superpower, and you know, I always thought Africa and China and Scandinavia were all different. I did, until the pretend play come out. Once that pretend play come out, they read word for word, everybody on television, they said exactly the same thing, which is, well, you know that there is one hand controlling the world.
Yeah.
And that might sound mad, I don't think it's human. I cannot believe that humanity would treat humanity like this. And if humanity is treating humanity like that, brothers and sisters, mate, you got to fucking switch it up and turn it around. Because, do you know what I mean? I don't think we've all come to this planet and had this human experience and life to just carry on being a slave to Tesco's.
No.
It's got to be more to it. It's got to be more to it.
There's got to be more to it. I think there definitely is.
100%. I hope so, Joe.
Well, let's hope so.
Well, it won't, but yeah, it's up for us. It's for us a lot to turn it around now.
Yeah.
Because we can all see it. Do you know what I mean? So look, let's all just stop talking about it and saying, like, we know we can feel this entities, like, but that means people have got to start
Changing. Change for a lot of people is very hard, because, you know, people are scared of change. But that's what they've created, to make people live in fear. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to say that. I don't want to go there. But, you know.
Why is there nothing good on telly? Why is there not a YouTube? Can someone set up a YouTube channel where we just find out whether little Max has passed his fucking A-levels, and as Mary's got her test done, and as Malcolm and Jennifer first had their first kid? And there is got to be some goodness out here.
Yeah.
Why has nobody set up a fucking dedicated channel to just good bits of news?
There are some sites that do positive news, but a lot of people are so set in being negative. How many people do you know that are more comfortable moaning about things than instead of going, do you know what, I'm going to have a good day today?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, well, this happens today. Well, it's typical me, innit? Yeah. Always happens
to me, yeah. But everyone's...
They're stuck.
Everybody thinks life owes them something. Let me tell you something. Life
A
owes...
lot of people do think that, yeah. Not everybody, but a lot of people do.
Right. Life, they've already given you life. Now, you've won the fucking lottery, you're here. Wake up every day and thank your lucky stars that you have a life. And what are you going to do with your day? Stop telling me that the government owes you something, or that the reason you ain't got something is because you fell off a ladder in 1974. These are all excuses why you are where you are. You're given a life. If you haven't got the motivation to get on and do something with it, that's down to you. But motivation and all of positive is what you instill in children from the very, very early age. So everybody that is finding it difficult to get off their arse and do anything, their mums and dads, or their you know, to a certain extent, they may have not have had that amount of help. But you can all look in the mirror and you can all decide whether you want to go forwards, backwards, left or right. But if you can't get up and make that decision and have that conversation with yourself, then really, you know, you've got to start working on yourself again. But, you know, look, I had a breakdown to the point where I was going to kill myself.